Hello, everyone. Welcome to the JRPG Report. This is going to be episode 58. My name is James Fisher. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule to give us a listen this week. It's been kind of a crazy week this week for me, but I want to take some time out and talk to you guys as we try to do every single week. First and foremost, we don't have a ton of news, but we do have some cool stories to talk about. As of this recording today is May the 1st, and I just wanted to let you guys know, if you didn't already know, there is a really good Golden Week sale going on the PSN store right now. I believe that is until May 7th that the deals are active, and there are some really good discounts on some big titles. I didn't have time to really go through all of them and see. The only thing I did do was I kind of, you can narrow it down to genre. And if you click on RPG, there was like 80 some titles on there. And of course, these are mostly from Japanese developers anyway, being Golden Week. So there are a plethora of really good titles discounted pretty heavily on the store. So I encourage you guys to check that out if you're looking to maybe snatch up a game or two at a good discount. We don't have any like big breaking news per se, so let's just kind of go through these stories and we'll kind of mix it up a little bit all around the JRPG world. As I mentioned, it's the 1st of May, so that always means that E3 is just around the corner. We talked a little bit about last week's FF7 Symphony announcement that's going on a couple days prior to E3, which will run from June the 11th through the 13th at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Speaking of JRPGs, we have the some of the lineups for some of the publishers, and Square Enix announced that they will actually be doing a live presentation June the 10th at 6 p.m., so kind of preempting the big announcement. We've seen that more and more from developers that kind of want to get out there beforehand and then leave the actual E3 show for media and fans to test out the games of what's going on. Here's what we know so far. Microsoft is coming out on June 9th at 1 o'clock. Bethesda is coming out June 9th as well at 5:30 p.m. There's a PC gaming show that's going to start June 10th at 10 a.m. Ubisoft, it will be at 1 o'clock that afternoon. And then I'm mentioning Square Enix, June the 10th at 6 p.m. And what they say is they will showcase an exciting lineup of titles. Of course, Square Enix is a big company, and they don't just make role-playing games. I'm sure there will be some news about what Just Cause 4 and new Tomb Raiders and all kinds of different announcements. But one thing they'll probably be talking about is the success of Kingdom Hearts 3. And it was announced just a few days ago about a downloadable content called Remind. That's RE:mind. This was announced at the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra World of Tress concert at the Tokyo International Forum today. So this content includes additional scenario Remind, as well as the limit cut episode and bosses, a secret episode and boss, an English voiceover option for the Japanese version, and more. That's all we know right now. A release date and price were not announced at this time. Free downloadable content, including a new Keyblade Inform, was also announced. We knew this was coming, and it's probably not the last of it. There's been much speculation on when Kingdom Hearts would dive into the biggest Disney acquisitions of the past couple of years, i.e. Star Wars or Marvel, and we have yet to really see those yet, but rest assured, they're coming. Persona 2, or Persona Q2, New Cinema Labyrinth has a new trailer out called Returning Heroes, and their launch day DLC was announced. Oh, people just love their launch day DLC, let me tell you. There is a plethora of things coming out. I'm not going through this whole list of things, because there are quite a few, and it looks like they're in that $1 to $3 range. So if you are excited about this game, you can check out that new trailer and all the additional content that you can purchase on the first day of release. Fire Emblem Three Houses did detail some stories, characters, systems, and more. You guys can dive into that a little bit more if you would like to. Let's kind of just read through their press release, and I apologize for reading, but there's a lot of information here, so that's what's going to happen. The story of the three territories, three houses, and you is one thing they've kind of dived into. The three countries of Fodlan and the Garagmok Monastery. There are three countries in Fodlan, where the story of Fire Emblem Three Houses is set. With a history spanning over a millennium, the Adristian Empire rules the southern half of the country. In the north, the cold lands of the Holy Kingdom of Faragos is governed by a king and his knights. And in the Leicester Alliance is a cooperative body ruled by a collective of prominent nobles in the east. While violent war broke out among these three countries in the past, they now maintain a balance of power. At the center of these three countries is the monastery, the headquarters of the Church of Sirius, which worships the goddess that protects Fodlan. The monastery has an academy where you will forge the future of Fodlan, study and train every day. Of course, that is where you are based out of, and the fates await you as a mentor, rather. You'll be mentoring these three different factions, and it looks like you're trying to kind of make peace among everybody, if I kind of had to dive into that. So they did give a little bit more about your protagonist. He says, originally working as a mercenary, the protagonist becomes a professor at the Officers Academy, where after their talent was recognized, their mother, they're speaking in general terms of saying there, because you can choose to be either the male or female protagonist. That's always nice. Their mother passed away, but she once lived with the protagonist's father, who led the Cirrus Knights. At the start of the game, you can choose between male and female appearances. There are no differences in ability based on the appearance that you choose. That's pretty cool. I always enjoy that you get at least a choice, but then there's no like consequences per se whether you choose to be male or female. There is the mysterious girl with the power to rewind time. You've kind of seen this in some of the trailers. This is the girl that's on the throne. It says she is Sothis, Sothis, a mysterious girl who saved the protagonist on that fated night. Her name is Sothis. Since she usually does not show herself and communicates with the protagonist in their head, no one is aware of her existence other than the protagonist. Also, she has lost her memories of herself. Now, see, usually we call people crazy when they start hearing voices in their head. But that's just, a game mechanic in Fire Emblem Three Houses. So, yeah, there's a bunch more details and a ton of images about this game. It's like I've said kind of before, I've never really gotten a chance to dive into Fire Emblem before, but being a proud Switch owner, I think I may give this one a try. It looks gorgeous. There's some big battles going on, but still has kind of that turn-based feel to it, which I like. And I think this might be kind of a way for me to dive into tactics a little bit more. But it does say that there's modes and difficulty, so you can do normal and hard, which affects the strength of enemies. Modes include casual, which lets you revive fallen enemies, and classic, which does not let you revive them. I probably would go for the casual because I I've never gotten into the strategy ones, and I know that's some people's, bread and butter, and that's what they love, but it's just something that really didn't interest me too much. And I'd like to try it. I tried like Disgaea a couple years ago and just got destroyed. It is a concept that I didn't quite grasp. So, maybe this is a way for me to get back into it. Looking forward to that one when it finally does release for the Switch. We got some news about Super Neptunia RPG. Will launch on PC via Steam on June 20th, and PS4 and Switch June 25th in North America, June 28th in Europe. Publisher Idea Factory International announced. Of course, we had that story last week about it getting pushed back, and it now matches its PC release date. A little odd. PC gets it 5 days earlier, but you kind of figure, like, why can't they just all come out at the same time? But they're not. The PS4 and Switch versions include English and French language support, while PC gets English, French, Japanese, and traditional Chinese language support. That PC version will also have a 20% off launch week discount, a deluxe bundle with a permanent 20% off discount. This includes the game and deluxe pack, and a deluxe pack with a 20% off launch week discount. The deluxe pack has, including the character art collection, background art collection, rough art collection, 2 PC wallpapers, 5 mobile wallpapers, and the soundtrack. So that one's finally got a firm release date on it, and you can check out images and more details about that. I always go over to Gematsu.com for all my information. That's GEMATSU. Check out all the details about that one. They also had a story about oh gosh, I've lost it. Bear with me. Anunnaki Characters, they got a new trailer and screenshots. This game starts to look more and more impressive every time I see it. That's a new game from Square Enix. They kind of detailed the cast and characters. We got an overview of the story, so let's talk about that. Bear with me on some of these names, as in Anunnaki players will journey as Kangachi, a young watcher who embodies the tenets of reincarnation and whose sacred duty it is to usher lost souls into the next world. Upon meeting Lynn, a mysterious young girl with no memory of her past. Does she have amnesia? Somebody's got to have amnesia. It's a JRPG. His fate becomes entwined with blood and death. During his journey, players will also meet Kushi, an exemplary watcher and trusted leader. Mayori, a watcher with a kind heart, and the malicious Night Devil, a swordsman with a forgotten time, who was hunting Lynn. Well, those two can't get along very well, I'm sure. This game looks very, very cool. I love the art style of this game. It looks so cool, and it really shines through on the trailer. Anunnaki is due out for PS4, Switch, and PC this summer, so I think this is a perfect Switch game for me. A bit of an odd story, and I don't have anything more to really tell you about this, but and this could be a Japan-only title. Maybe we see it come out in the West as a downloadable, digital only. But a company called Experience has announced Blue Winged Chevalier, a new traditional fantasy / dungeon RPG for the PlayStation Vita. Yeah, I know. We all thought it was dead, and I guess kind of it is dead. But this is coming out both physically and digitally on July 25th in Japan for 6,800 yen. There's a trailer out for it. So it's a pretty cool art style. The Vita is just perfectly made for JRPGs. Not only do you have a ton of games specifically made for the Vita, but you've got The PlayStation Store has all kinds of great games. In particular, PlayStation 1 games look really, really good on the Vita. Kind of when the more you stretch out a PS1 or PS2 game, the worse that it looks. So by the time you shrink it down to the Vita's beautiful little screen, those games really pop and look pretty nice. So we'll see if this one makes its way over. There was literally no information in the trailer itself other than just a quick peek at it and kind of announcing that it was coming out. But that's it. We'll keep right out, see if that one actually makes its way over here or not. Last week we talked a little bit about Dragon Star Varnir, the upcoming Compile Heart game. There is now they're calling it, just a limited edition was announced, and a little more details about the game as well. So this limited edition will retail for $74.99, and pre-orders will go live here in 2 weeks on May the 14th. For $75, here is what you get: the physical copy of the game, the steel game case, a 56-page hardcover art book, the 12-track original soundtrack CD, the 9-card tarot card set, reversible cover sleeve, and the collector's box. So for basically $15 more, you get quite a good investment. This looks pretty cool. I certainly like it when companies decide to do this. I'm a huge fan of reversible art covers. Typically you're lucky if you have anything on the other side, and in an era where we don't get instruction manuals anymore, right? Kind of like the least you can do for me is give me an option on which cover I want to use for displaying my game. So I really enjoy that. And if you're going to pick this game up, it seems like the limited edition is the way to go for sure. So let's talk a little bit about this game. We did get some more details about it. They're going to talk about what's called the Huntry. That's where players can collect new quests they can undertake for various awards. The Huntry also lets players access special items such as the Books of Formation, which lets players use new formations that can provide various stat boosts in battle. However, these stat boosts may be accompanied by decreases in other stats. Remember, this game has those 3 vertical levels to combat, so I would dare say different formations are going to be pretty vital to your success in this game. Now, dungeons in Dragon Star Vanir include treasure chests and locked paths in addition to numerous enemies. Party members can unlock special abilities that will let players overcome the obstacles in their way. Elixirs are created by mixing items found in the dungeon, such as monster drops like claws, bones, with a special class that determines the type and rarity. There was some more character model descriptions and pictures by them. Definitely something I am looking forward to. I'm not saying this is a day one purchase by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one that is on my radar as it's getting close to coming out. It will release exclusively for PS4 North America on June the 11th. European release coming out on June the 14th. And this story was actually over on rpgamer.com. That's RP and then the word gamer.com. You can check it out if you want to see a few more of those images and kind of what is included in that special edition. Now, this announcement kind of, I didn't see this one coming. I believe this is, if you've seen some previous games on the Switch, where Megaforce gets a hold of a popular franchise. The one that first comes to my mind was they did one for Legend of Zelda, Hyrule Warriors, I do believe. Omega Force, if I'm not mistaken, I should have probably vetted this. They're the ones that did the Dynasty Warriors games, and it kind of looks like it. But they're, okay, so get this. They're doing Omega Force has gotten a hold of the Persona 5 treatment. And this one's going to be called Persona 5 Scramble, the Phantom Strikers. And so it takes the scene when Joker is escaping and gets captured by the police, but it kind of goes right back to that where he is surrounded by all the police officers after making the daring escape, and he draws a knife, and it actually shows him kind of going to town on all the they show up as police officers, but they're being controlled. They're not really, they're just shadows. So just think what you've seen in these games before, except now you get to control Joker and literally just plow through hundreds of enemies. I gotta admit, I'm a little curious about this one. I was ultimately disappointed with the Dragon Quest Heroes games that kind of tried to do this, but didn't quite succeed at it. So maybe something I want to see a little more of. This was announced for the PS4 and the Switch, so we'll see. You can check out that trailer if you want to. And, I mean, it looks the part. The cutscenes look straight out of Persona 5, and then proceeds to have some pretty crazy action. It definitely has the personas in there that you can summon and wipe out tons of enemies at once. So we'll see. It could be kind of just a fun little game, don't take yourself so seriously from all this time. We'll have to wait and see. I got 2 more stories for us, and it also involves E3 just a little bit. First up, Nintendo says they have no plans to announce new hardware at E3 in a couple weeks. Quote, Nintendo is always developing internally. President and CEO Shintaro Furukawa said during the company's financial results briefing today. He added that he has nothing to announce on potential new hardware, but that Nintendo is always developing hardware internally. So we did have some various recent rumors that Nintendo's plans to make an upgraded Switch model. Whether that's true or not, appears we're not going to hear about it in a couple weeks. This is what companies do, right? I mean, they're always working on the next piece of hardware. The Switch is a fantastic success, but it does have some limitations. It could be improved, of course. And while that may be coming, I think they would just be absolutely crazy to announce an all new system. Now, could they do a Switch Pro, a la PS4 did with their Pro system? Absolutely. And I think that would be a very smart idea. I mean, people are hauling around tablets now. Now, I don't say the Switch needs to be as big as a tablet, but they could certainly increase that screen and increase the look of it. Currently, in handheld mode, the games can only go up to 720. Now, you're not going to see a huge difference if you were to go to 1080, but maybe just having that capability in handheld would be enough to sell people on it. I'm not hugely surprised we're not going to hear something, but maybe, it's kind of hopeful. Of course, I didn't talk about it on the podcast, but PlayStation 5 has been at least confirmed, and we've got a bunch of technical details about it. It sounds super impressive. There were some rumors that it was coming out soon. I anticipate we will learn a lot more about that here in a couple weeks. I dare say it's going to get unveiled to the world in a big fashion. The only we did have a report the other day that it will not come out during this fiscal year. So that runs to the end of March. And a new system is not going to come out in April. So I've been of the opinion we're looking at late fall 2020. We'll have to see if that is actually what that ends up being, but it's probably about time for it. I just saw a story the other day that they're at 96 million PlayStation 4s sold. That's just a crazy number. I don't think anybody anticipated that at all. And so I think it's probably high time for a new system to come out, at least here pretty soon. But you still, don't go getting rid of that PS4 anytime soon. Sony always supports their systems for a good long ways, and with PS5 having backwards compatibility with PS4, we're going to see plenty more PS4 games. In particular, I feel like with our JRPGs, I think that we'll get a lot. Japan tends to really do that. They'll still support that system a year or two or more past the release of the next system. So I dare say we'll be getting PS4 games for many years to come. Let's take just a quick break and thank our sponsor for this podcast. So on a personal note, I did get to celebrate my birthday the other day, and the family was curious about what to get me, and I never wanted to ask for a whole lot, but I definitely, make my Amazon list and definitely hinted at some things I would like, and really the only thing I could come up with was, well, I know I want Trails of Cold Steel 2 that comes out in a month, and I know I want Trails of Cold Steel 3 that comes out at the end of the year. So the fams all pitched together, and I'm happy to report that while I was handed 2 sheets of paper for my birthday, which sounds like a really crummy gift, the symbol of those 2 sheets of paper was pretty awesome. I'm definitely going to be receiving Trails of Cold Steel 2 when it comes out later this month, which is awesome. And they all kind of pitched together and said, here, you giant nerd, son-in-law, husband, brother, son. Here is we don't know what this is, but you asked for a $100 limited edition of this game that I guess you play, and it's got a stuffed animal in it, and well, here you go, because we love you. Here you'll get that when I don't think they were thrilled that they didn't even know when I was going to get the gift, since it doesn't have a firm release date, but that just kind of shows the love of my family, and they're awesome, and I cannot wait to get that special edition. It's going to be so cool. Big props to an awesome family. So I, from time to time, and maybe I'll try to do this each week, but the awesome people over at RP Gamer, they review, and I like to use that website in particular because these are just guys and gals that really enjoy playing role-playing games, and if they're making money at it, it ain't a whole lot. They'll probably get a base salary by advertising, but they are not by any stretch in the industry, not getting kickbacks. So I really tend to value their opinion. So there's been a couple games come out, and I can review games all day long, but I really don't want to do that. But I do want to read this one in particular because they reviewed the recent release of Final Fantasy VII for Switch and Xbox One, and they reviewed it as if the game, came out today, what the value is, who it is. So, this was by Alex Fuller, who does a great job, and basically just says that return to the first 3D Final Fantasy makes for an interesting time. While certain areas of the game hold up, others have crumbled away. Its cast remains strong, and its best moments still stand out, but in other areas, the game really shows its age. It's tough to recall a time when those character models would have been looked upon favorably. And absolutely true. At the time, that is about it, because it's really... Final Fantasy VII is just... They tried so hard to make this groundbreaking game, and they did. and it looks awful 20 years later. Whereas if you go back and look at, let's say, Super Nintendo games, they can still look good. And it's just very odd, very odd. I'm not going to read you the entire article, but it says, playing through Final Fantasy VII, it's easy to see why it is easy to see why it was the game in the series selected to be remade. There are some fundamental issues with its overall story, and it certainly hasn't stood the test of time as well as many other titles have. But it still provides a strong base with its engaging cast. It's easy to see how its steampunk designs would look much better with today's technology. Final Fantasy VII is worth checking out and offers plenty of entertaining moments, but it's going to be appreciated by those looking at it with rose-tinted nostalgia far more than anyone picking up for the first time. I would have to imagine if you play this game for the very first time today, if you're 12 years old and everybody you've ever met says this game was so awesome, you're probably going to not value their opinion very much anymore. While it certainly is awesome, I feel like if you went back and played, let's say, Chrono Trigger, and you went back and played Final Fantasy VII, there'd be no doubt what the better game was, which game has held up better over time. So he gives it a 3 out of 5. The battle system he loves. He gives it a 4 out of 5. The interaction, only a 2. Originality, a 3. Originality probably should be a little bit higher. Story, a 3. Music and sound, he gives it a 4. I think you're probably about right. Visuals, a 2, and that's probably being fair or generous, right? It has a strong cast. Its materia system is interesting and adds good depth. There is a speed up and no encounter feature that's very welcome. On the negative side, it says the plot isn't sure what it wants to be. Those character models, indeed, they are a little blocky. And he did not enjoy the annoying mini games, as I did not as well. I'm not saying not to pick this game up. Just looking at the screenshots of it, they certainly did a very good job with like the text boxes and all that. You can clearly read them. They're not stuck in low definition, and I think like the backgrounds and FMV parts of it hold up well. I think it's even more glaring now with those character models in it, perhaps used to be. And that is my reading of a Final Fantasy VII review for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I just kind of want to pass along somebody else's opinion on these games, rather than just always give you how I feel about it. Don't really have a whole lot more to talk about. I think we've had a pretty decent show. A lot to look forward to with E3 just around the corner. We'll remind everyone that if you are looking for something fun to do, you can go check out my YouTube page, JRPG Report. Right now we are streaming through Trails of Cold Steel. I'm up to chapter 5. Just got to the Gram. And actually tonight we're going into the castle. So that should be really interesting. And I've kind of broken everything down into easy 1 to 2 hour segments. So you don't have to feel like you're watching the entire game, as that's about all the time I get to play each night. You can also do me a huge favor. Couple of different things. I am accepting listener support. You can do that through the Anchor app. That would be awesome. Support the cause if you'd like to. Also, we can, if you head onto your favorite podcast platform and leave me a review, that can only help the cause by spreading the news to more people. That would be really cool as well. Don't forget our Facebook page. We get some cool stuff over there from time to time as well, and have some awesome discussions. Free to join us that way as well. And don't forget, if you download that Anchor app, And you can send me a voicemail. I'll include it in the podcast and try to answer your question. Or if you have any questions or comments, you can do that on the Facebook page as well, and we will discuss them in future podcasts. So let's wrap up episode 58. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And until next time, get back out there and level up.